The topic of black-eyed children has recently gained momentum on the internet in the last few years. However, no one knows how far back experiences with these paranormal anomalies extend. The origin of the black-eyed children vary dependent on what country you are in. Like most paranormal events, you can usually find varying flavours of the same things across the world. The changes are simply naming manner and specific experiences. For example, vampires can be found in different parts of the world, known by different names, but it always refers to the undead coming back to life to prey upon the living in some form or another. However, for the sake of our topic, we can trace the modern tale back to a 1996 posting written by Texas reporter Brian Bethel on a ghost-related mailing list. Bethel describes encountering black-eyed children in Abilene, Texas in 1996 and claims that a second person had a similar but unrelated encounter in Portland, Oregon. Before we delve too deep, let's define what we mean by black-eyed children. Black-eyed kids relate to the experience of people having encountered children in strange circumstances whose eyes are fully black, no whites in the eyes whatsoever. These children have the common ability to unsettle their victims. At the time of the experience, victims do not understand why, but they just feel unease about the children. The children usually speak in a strange monosyllabic way, which adds to the unease. There's something about the construction of the children's speech that doesn't quite fit in some cases. They say it lacks real emotion. Also, the language used by the children is not what is expected from a child of the correct age. However, one common thing always reported is that the children's demand to be allowed into an environment, usually the home of the victim. They seem to repeat the demand in a strangely robotic fashion, as if there is some higher imperative driving them. Also, the children seem somehow disconnected from the environment. For instance, someone would report children dressed in a manner that doesn't suit the current common times. People may notice that they wear clothing not exactly of the period, almost as if someone created a living mannequin, dressed them from a slightly out-of-date textbook, and sent them out to do some bidding. Victims of black-eyed children have commented that on the rare occasion they have facilitated these children's wishes, they have soon found their lives turned upside down, frequently succumbing to illness and bad luck. The peculiar thing about the black-eyed children is it sits bang in the middle between paranormal encounters of ghosts and demons and a more sci-fi based UFO experience. People have views ranging from the children are demonic forces trying to enter someone's life to the children being part of a hybrid breeding program created by extraterrestrials. Victims contest to the unease they feel the presence of these entities. It's not hard to see how such a topic as black-eyed kids can make for a rather nice ghost story, and I'm not one to say that these experiences are not real. However, if we look closely at these incidents, they show many of the hallmarks attributed to other paranormal entities. For example, the refusal to enter the victim's abode without being asked in is reminiscent of vampire lore, where a vampire must be asked in before facing and attacking the victim. They are not waiting by some unwritten rule to be let in. Another thing is that the eyes of these entities are entirely black. For many years we have seen multitudes of horror films emerge from Hollywood. Demonic entities roll their eyes back, black or white. There's something about full black eyes that are deeply unsettling, that still unnerve us as human beings. It's true the black-eyed children phenomena have all the hallmarks of preying. Indeed, today it is quite possible to find contact lenses that cover not just pupils but the whites also, and this is being used in many Hollywood films to date. And if we are to venture into the more squeamish territory, it's possible now to have one's eyeballs tattooed black. As feasible as it sounds, it seems very unlikely children will go to this extent, pull such a prank. Apart from the fact that in most parts of the world it will be quite illegal, frankly, for children to have tattoos, not having reached the age of consent. We find that in these encounters, black-eyed children seem to have just that, completely black eyes. Either they are wearing full contact lenses or they have had their eyeballs tattooed. In any case, putting this argument aside, we cannot ignore the fact that when these occurrences happen, no one has reported children missing of that description, and in many cases have not set eyes on children of that description at all. They seem to just appear for a purpose and then they're gone. The problem with the black-eyed child phenomenon is that these experiences have to have singular witnesses. By this we mean lone adults, or an adult with children with them, perhaps in their care. However, there is always an adult involved. In other words, someone of mature mind in the scenario which these black-eyed children communicate to plead with to gain access. It is true that these children also communicate and approach other children, but usually it seems to be a precursor to communicating to the adults. To date, no credible video of black-eyed children has been captured, especially in a day where phones with cameras are in abundance. In defence of the lack of footage, it is worth bearing in mind the victims are usually quite shaken and not in the presence of mind to take out a phone or camera and take a picture, possibly because of the bizarre nature of the event and experience. There are rare medical conditions that can cause discoloration of human eyes. However, these are indeed very rare and will not account for the myriad of experiences being brought forward. So, what are we to make of this paranormal experience? On the face of it, the experience bears all the hallmarks of something evil, perhaps demonic, requiring the help of the church to resolve. An evil omen, perhaps. Whatever we think, the black-eyed children have forced themselves into the psyche of many people, and is a growing phenomenon. One thing is certain, the mystery and the malevolence of these entities remain with people for years after the event. Perhaps we are dealing with an intelligent force capable of creating whatever manner or fantasy or entity that it deems necessary to summon up. Much of the paranormal experiences one has are indeed linked, and is not just a case of an overactive imagination.